All right, I've got 2 o'clock, so let's get going. First thing I'm going to do is kind of go down the class list because there's a few of you that I do know, but several of you that I don't know. I haven't had in classes before. I should say first, I guess, introduce myself for those of you that don't know me. I'm Byron Ophis. I've been up here, I don't know, 17 or 18 years. In my prior life, I was a banker for 17 years, so that's kind of the background. Kind of my love for finance. I do enjoy the heck out of it. So I've told classes in the past I don't have a life. I really actually sit home sometimes and look over financial statements and whatnot of companies. That'll tell you how boring I am, you know. But anyhow, what else was I going to say about that? I can't remember. So let me go down the list, get to know some of you guys. Oh, I should say I'm also semi-retired, so I'm only doing this on a part-time basis. Nevertheless, I still have an office up here. It still seems like I spend an inordinate amount of time up here. I usually say it's because I want to get away from my wife. But in any event, my office is 210B, which is in the suite of offices down there. You're welcome to come see me. If you ever need help with some of the stuff that's going on here, come and visit. Now that I'm semi-retired, I got time. I can sit there and go over problems with you and work on those things. So if you don't get through this class, it's your fault, right? Because the door's open. Come in and visit. We'll figure it out, okay? So who's Aaron?
Right.
Okay. Aaron is Alec. Now, did you have a sister or sister-in-law that was?
My sister, you were advisor.
Yeah.
Jade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's she doing?
Pretty good.
Good. Good. Back in Conrad still, or in that area?
Let's see, she just had a kid
good.
in May.
Cool.
And then she graduated in, I think, was it December or May?
Something like that, yeah. I thought it was last May or something, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, good for her. Cool. So we call you Uncle Alec now.
Yep.
Bailey, I know, is a distant. How about Brett Stockwood? Okay. I'll try to remember you guys too as we do this. Brian. Yeah, that's Brian there. Erica. It's got to be Erica. Carl, I know. Kelsey, I'm pretty sure is a distant. Out of Great Falls. Logan. Right there. Okay. Luke. Luke. Petra. So I was right the first time. Go with your first instinct. And then Rebecca, she kind of talked to me. She may be in and out a little bit. So format of this class, is supposed to be face-to-face. We've kind of gotten in the habit of offering it and allowing students that are at a distance to take it. That said, I sure hope that you guys continue to come to class. I think you will find that to your benefit. As we go along, the first week or two of this class, sorry, it's going to be a little bit boring. I'm going to kind of lecture you, kind of like an old-fashioned class a little bit. We're going to talk about finance and do a few things. After about week 2, and week 2 is abbreviated because we got the one holiday in there, then I'm going to flip the class, okay? And if you've gone through the content section of Brightspace at all, you probably noticed that there's problems that are assigned. And if you go down further, I'll show you too in a bit, that if you go down further, you'll see that I've got videos for each one of those problems, okay? So when I say flip the class, it means that there's a quiz that you guys are going to do every week on each chapter. That's the book stuff, okay? That's to force you to get out your book, open it up, look at it. They're open book quizzes. I don't think there's any time limit on them. If there is, it's like 2 hours or something like that, okay? So the idea there isn't to stump you. It's just to force you to get your book out, force you to look some stuff up, force you to try to understand a few of those things and click a few buttons and show that you can do that, right? Okay, then you got the problems. And the problems sometimes get to be a little gnarly, especially as we go along a little bit. That's when class time is going to be important. So if you're here, if you guys work together, great. Okay, I told somebody, Carl, I think, and I were talking about it earlier. I've had classes where it was like this, and kids showed up, they worked together, they were showing each other how to do it, not giving them the answers, right? Because I'll be around making sure you're not just giving them the answers, right? But showing them how to do it. If they had questions, I could come around and show them how to do it. It's a lot of fun, okay? The other side of that is if you all just sit there at your own little computer and kind of do things, it's not quite as interesting. So that's what class time is going to be for. And then class time will also be for working on the projects. Okay, there's 2 major projects that you're going to kind of do for the class. one in the first half, one in the second half. Maybe I'll talk about those in due time as I kind of go through the content here a little bit. So the course home for Brightspace. Is everybody familiar with Brightspace? You've all been here enough. You've all used it. Okay, so you're familiar. You get in. I think most of us are setting up our classes in the business department pretty similarly, and so you should be able to follow it pretty closely. If you'll note, oh, they always tell me I'm supposed to put a special welcome up there. I didn't do that, sorry. So no special welcome other than hello, welcome. Syllabus is there. You can click on that. You can download it, open it up, whatever, save it. Okay, read it. I'm not going to go through it all. I think I kind of know what's on it anyhow, and so you guys can do that at your own leisure if you want to. Okay. It does have the grading in there. Everybody's all concerned about the grading, so I think 60% of your grades in the two projects, 25 and 35 if I'm not mistaken, and they're the 40%. That might be wrong. It's maybe 50-50. But anyhow, the other is going to be on the quizzes and then your homework that you're going to be doing. Okay. Stay up on those things. You know, there's not, if you look, you'll see there's some chapters where there's going to be 6, 8, 10 problems. Okay. There's other chapters there might only be 4 or 5 problems. Okay. Usually if there's only 4 or 5, it's because they might be a little more gnarly. Okay. We get to about chapter 9, I think it is, and I assign you all kinds of stuff in chapter 9 because that's old banking stuff, and so I kind of want to make sure you guys get that down. Textbook website, if you click on that, it should just take you to the website of the textbook, and it's got some stuff. You can take practice quizzes there. You can do some different things. There aren't going to be any tests in here, though, so I don't know if practice quizzes are that relevant, but you can sure get on there. If there's some other things you want to look up, that's fine. I got some articles. You know, you can read there. I might periodically post some articles here sometimes that are kind of, hopefully kind of interesting, that I found interesting, let you guys read a little bit and whatnot. I like to often as we're going along, and I'm going to flip the class, so class time is going to be that, but probably the first 5-10 minutes of every class, I might get up and BS a little bit about things that are going on. I might ask you some silly questions too. You know, little quizzes. Those that are taking it at a distance, they'll have to listen to the video and submit their answers. But little quizzes that might ask you, you know, what's the, if you had a, let's see, if you were saving $100 a month for the rest of your life until you're 67 and then you retire, how much will you have if your earnings rate's 8%? Okay. Right now you're looking at me like, I don't know what the hell he's even talking about, right? By the end of the class, you'll be able to figure that. You'll be able to do it easily. Okay. It's really pretty simple. Excel gives you the tools to do that. Pressing a few buttons, boom, boom, you enter a little data, you don't even hit anything, you hit the enter button and boom, it just solves it for you. Okay, so it's pretty simple, and yet it's good stuff to know. You know, it's really kind of cool stuff. What's the payments going to be if I want to buy a house? You know, I want to buy a $150,000 house. What's my payments going to be? If my income's $30,000 a year, how much house can I afford? That was a question I used to get every week at the bank, probably 3 times a week. Geez, you know, I make $40,000 a year. How much house can I afford? You know, sit down, do a little math, put it into my calculator. We didn't really, hate to tell you how old I am, but we didn't have Excel back then, so we had to plug it into a calculator and do it. Okay, same principle though. Principle's the same. Excel's got a few more features. Excel gives you a keepable readout. You know, you get all done, it's still right there, so it's kind of cool. So going down. Put a little joke in. I always like to put a little joke in here or there. Project 1, I'll talk about it just briefly since I've got it up there. We'll start that in a couple weeks. Again, that's kind of a couple weeks to get you going here. It's the first couple weeks you guys will review accounting, you know, terms and a few things like that. I don't think I have any problems for the first 2 weeks. You'll do a couple, I think 1 or 2 quizzes if I'm not mistaken, maybe chapters 1 and 2. So you do a couple quizzes. Get yourself going again, all that other good stuff. And then in addition to your homework and stuff, we'll start on Project 1. Now Project 1 used to be equal to Project 2, but I've made it worth less now, not worthless, but worth less. Gotta be careful how you phrase things. Because the Service Corps of Retired Executives put out this really nice workbook that's in Excel, and it does all the work for you. and so it really simplifies this project. I'm not going to tell you that it's 100% simple, but it really simplifies the project, and so I've made it worth less points in terms of your final score. What it is it's going to be the basic spreadsheets that you would use if you were planning to start your own business, if you were making some projections or whatnot to start your own business. Okay. Again, Service Corps of Retired Executives put it out. It's all in Excel. You input the numbers. It does a lot of the work for you. Even takes it from spreadsheet to spreadsheet. There's about 10 or 12 spreadsheets within the workbook. Okay. I hope you guys will kind of enjoy that. You'll see the stuff that I used to look at all the time when I was in banking. When you had small business, it was very similar to the stuff that we looked at all the time. They didn't have this nice a format back then. Nobody had gone to the work to put it all together. But so you'll do that. You'll finish that again. You know, if you're done doing your homework and stuff in class and done doing the quizzes, and you want to sit and work on the project, perfect time to do that, right? Hey, how do I input this? You know. You'll submit it. I'll try to give you feedback. Please read the feedback. Okay. I had a student last semester that one simple little thing forgot to do it. I'd sent feedback and sent reminders. Didn't get done. End of the semester, give the student an incomplete. End of the summer, oh my God, you know, I knew this was going to happen. I never check all my emails during the summer, And so I went back and found my email, sent it back to that student, said, you got one simple thing to complete, and you get a passing grade for the class, you know. So got it done, but what a pain in the butt, both for that student and myself. So if I give you some feedback, you know, take a look at it, come to class, and we'll take a look at it. Come to my office, whichever the case may be. It's a fairly easy project, I think. Of course, I've been doing it for years, but it's a fairly easy project. I think you guys will get through it. Again, week 1, week 2, it kind of has those things up there. You can click on that and it'll show the whole thing. I think I have the whole semester set up. That's a couple things. It's not to say that I didn't make any mistakes. I get really blurry-eyed as I'm sitting there changing the dates on these things, trying to figure out what date I want what assignments due and whatnot. So you might come to a thing and, you know, typically if the assignments are due Friday at 3 or something like that, all of a sudden you'll see one due Tuesday at 6 p.m. or something goofy, right? Okay, don't panic. You know, just send me an email or let me know or something, because I probably just got blurry-eyed and clicked the wrong button. We just got to keep clicking buttons when we're changing dates, and it's a real pain. I used to do that sitting at home drinking beer. It was even worse back then. But now that I'm semi-retired, I got time to do it in my office. So most of this stuff up here just basically says go to the content section and see what we've got there. So if you click on content, you'll come over, hit the main one, table of contents, maybe. And it's kind of got it all set out, right? Easier to come to these ones over here though. So in week 1, just to give you an idea, you look at that. You got a quiz. Like I said, I'll probably kick up this PowerPoint and give you a little lecture on Wednesday, and we might start chapter 2 on Friday, and then, or I might not get done on Wednesday, who knows. And next week I'll do a little bit of chapter 2 probably on Wednesday and whatnot, and then you guys are going to get turned loose. About after that is when we'll flip the class, okay, and then we'll just start doing the assignments and whatnot in class. Okay. Week 2, just to check and make sure. Oh, week 2, no, we get going here. Shoot. So you guys only got about 1 week of reprieve, because we do have an assignment due next week. Sorry. So I'll be buzzing through, okay, chapters 1 and chapters 2. That won't be much of an effort. And then you guys are going to have an assignment due. So by next week, then you guys will have some class time to start working on those assignments and whatnot. Okay. If you want to, you can go ahead and get those quizzes out of the way for chapters 1 and chapters 2.
So we won't have any assignments with chapter 1 and 2?
No. Okay. Textbook, if you haven't picked it up yet. This should be an older generation. I try to keep using older generations because they should be a lot less expensive if I'm not mistaken. So you guys should be able to find a used one of these really easy. 15th edition of Foundations of Financial Management by Block, Hurt, and Danielson. I used to assign, the assignments were right out of the text. You'll find that the assignments are almost identical, the wording and everything, but when you click on the assignments when you get here, oh, that's the Dropbox, sorry. Here's the assignment, the Excel spreadsheet. I want to download it. And here's the way to do those assignments too. I'll open this up just to give you an idea. What you'll find is that these are identical to what's in the book, other than I changed the numbers. Believe it or not, people were cheating. They were getting answers from people in prior classes and whatnot. I know that's hard to believe, but so I had to go in and change the numbers, made it a little more difficult. It was kind of fun for the first week or two. I'd get these assignments coming in, and it had the old. They didn't even bother to look up the new, questions that I had. So that's always kind of fun. Anyhow, don't cheat. Okay. Way to do the assignment, it's going to be in Excel. Okay. Go ahead and just do the assignment down here. All right. Questions up there. I can do the assignment down below. Okay. There are videos to explain each one of those. All right. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions in that assignment for chapter 3. If you click on that first one, there's a short little video. Probably takes 3, 4, 5 minutes, if that. Probably shorter than that even. Okay. Honest to goodness, if you follow along, the example, what I'm doing in those videos is giving you an exact example that's very similar to what the problem is. I've seen people do the split screen thing. So they'll listen to it on the one side, set their deal up on the Excel over here on the other side, okay? And they go through and do the problems, okay? And you'll be in the class working on them, and I'll be here. And so I'm happy to come around and show you how to do those types of things. What I prefer, I should actually require this almost because it's really nice. When you do get to your answer, let me hit this. You got to hit that. When you do get to that answer, if you come up here and just highlight it like that, the answer itself, if some questions you'll have several answers maybe. If you highlight those, boy, sure makes my job easier when I'm correcting those things. So the easier my job is, usually the nicer I am. I don't get quite so grumpy as the semester goes on. So just a hint, if you like to see me happy and not grumpy, you guys can do that. And what you'll do, oops, gosh darn it, I'm sorry, forgot to show something. I got to download this again. You'll notice on the bottom that there's a separate tab, okay, for each assignment. And you'll also notice that I have them kind of numbered there. So you just click through those, follow the appropriate video, and you'll be in heaven. I'm going to leave that up in case I have to come back for some reason. Any questions about those? The quizzes are online. Okay, so you got to be a little bit wary when you get in there. Be prepared to take the quiz when you hit the button that says Start Quiz, because that means it's going to start. So be someplace where you can set aside, a half hour or whatever it's going to take you to do the quiz. Have your book ready. Do those types of things, right? Because when it starts, and then you got to get her done. So I've had lightning storms interfere with those before and different things like that. Doesn't happen real often, but occasionally there's a legitimate excuse that something goes wrong with the quiz. Again, don't panic. Don't lay awake all night worrying about that. Just text me or something, or email me, I guess. I don't text, but email me in the morning, and we'll get it figured out, okay? Now, if the skies are clear blue and you tell me there was a lightning storm, and they have been, I might question you a little bit. So, make sure your excuse is a reasonable one. So, my Wi-Fi went out. That's probably the most common one. And that happens, I understand. So, Okay, project one. Let me just click on that and kind of give you a little idea. I talked about it a little bit. This is the overall spreadsheet right here, or workbook, I should call it. That's what it looks like. Okay, now, listen up. Right now, listen, okay? This is password protected. So it's not going to let you make any changes, okay, unless you put the password in. It's not to really keep it from people. It's just so you don't make any stupid mistakes, you know, start typing in stuff and you're not paying attention, whatever. The password's just 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is right here on the directions on the first one. Right there, okay? So when you get ready to start this, you know you're going to open it up and you're going to try to enter some stuff and it's not going to let you, and you're going to go, OMG, I can't get this done, okay? Password. I think you got to go up to, is it review? Yeah. Protect or unprotect. It's almost like I have to put that in. I think it's fine until I get ready to start plugging in numbers. Let me see if that does it. Oops. Oh, that worked for some reason. God, maybe it's not password protected. It's supposed to be. Okay, well, you'll find out. If it is password protected, then, and it should be, that's the password. Again, you'll see down here there's several. And we're gonna go through, and guess what? There's videos for each one of those. It's going to tell you what to do. My main advice right now is keep it simple. Okay, you guys are going to choose your own business that you think you might want to start or something. Okay, keep it simple. You know, if your ultimate goal is to own a 8-bay diesel repair shop, you know, and have 16 employees and all that, that's fine and dandy. I don't have any problems with that. But it might be better to just start with a single bay, you know. Maybe I'll have one part-time employee come in and help out a little bit, that type of thing, right? Okay, to keep it a little bit easier. It's easy to scale this up. Okay, it's very, very easy. This is really scalable. So if you start small and then at some point in time you want to change it, you can do that really, really easily in the future. Okay. Then we go along. Project 2 seems to cause the most angst. And I don't know why sometimes, but it's probably just because it's stuff that I really enjoy, and maybe students don't have the love for it yet, but hopefully you'll develop the love for it. We might kind of get started a little bit on Project 2 here in a little bit. We had fun a couple semesters ago. It was in the fall, and I went ahead and I told them to choose a publicly traded company that you want to analyze. You're not going to do the analysis until the last half of the semester, but just choose a publicly traded company that you want to analyze. Again, keep it simple. What do I mean by that? General Electric's a conglomerate. It'd be really, really difficult to analyze. Okay, it's not that big of a company anymore, but you know they got airplane engines, they got trains, they got light bulbs, they got just all kinds of stuff. To analyze that would really be a pain in the butt.
So like Tesla would be a bad idea.
Tesla?
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, only because it's speculative. I have had a student do Tesla before. The other thing that's tough about Tesla is that they still don't make any money. Okay, it's kind of tough to analyze a company that doesn't make any money, but you could. I wouldn't rule that out because, and what do I say by complicated versus not? There's big companies that really aren't that complicated. Doing Apple wouldn't be that big a deal. Apple's relatively simple. They make phones and sell them, and they make iPods. They make merchandise and sell it, right? They're getting into a few other things. They're starting to do more services. They have iTunes. They have a few other things that you folks are probably more familiar with than I am. But it's not that complicated of a company. I mean, they're fairly okay.
What about like foreign companies? You know, like how Samsung
Nope.
is out of Korea?
Probably not. And you and I can buy stock in foreign companies. Okay, because they can be listed as an ADR, it's called, or an automatic depository receipts, I think. So they can be listed on the stock exchange, but it's difficult to get the same level of information about those companies that you get from an American listed company. I don't know if the rules are different, okay? So easier to take an American company. It'd be fun. There's some foreign companies I'd like to see analyzed, Adidas versus Nike, for an example, different things like that. It'd be kind of cool, but it's a little tougher. I've tried to look at some of those foreign companies. It's just a little tougher to get some information from them. So, so it can be big or it could be a small company. Just as an example, I get a lot of students that do Nike. I get a decent number of students that do Under Armour. Nike's huge. Nike's a big company, but they're pretty focused at what they do, right? Pretty much apparel and shoes, and that's about it. I get a lot of diesel and auto students. They'll pick a diesel or auto company. Cummins seems to be kind of popular. John Deere has been kind of popular in the past. Caterpillar has been really popular in the past. I've had a lot of students do a lot of Caterpillar. Trying to think of some other ones. There's some ones that get thrown at me. They're kind of cool. Trying to think of there. Wet Seal. Is there a company called Wet Seal? It's like a women's clothing company or something, or just a clothing company. Is that what its name is?
Yeah, it's a clothing company.
Clothing company.
Like
Okay.
usually at malls.
Yeah, and malls are sucking right now. I mean, any businesses that are in malls are just getting beat up. Why is that? Amazon, yeah. Amazon and other online offerings, but yeah, a lot of Amazon. So, but nevertheless, there are some companies, bricks and mortar companies, that are still doing well. Can you think of some?
Walmart.
Walmart's still doing well.
Walmart's kind of going on the online too now.
They're trying to compete head to head with Amazon, yeah, with the advantage that they have local stores, local delivery.
Yeah. You can tell them put in an order for groceries, and then you just got to show up, and they can just build some clothes in your car, and you can drive away.
Yeah. So they've got an interesting competitive advantage there. Yeah. I noticed I was looking, my 1972 Ford pickup, the windshield wipers were bad on, and so I needed some of those, and I stopped, I think, one or two places and couldn't find any, and so I finally went home and I got online in Napa. So I go to Napa and I shop around a little bit on there. I tell them what I want, and it says, oh yeah, they're in and they're down here at the store. So I drive down there, and the guy kind of looks at me funny, and I said, hey, the computer said you got them in stock. And he says, okay, I'll go check. And he comes back, and sure enough, they had them. So, it's kind of a nice combination there with some of those stores that you can do those types of things. So, Target's doing well still. And the other one that's doing extremely well is Costco. I don't know if you guys shop at Costco at all. We don't have one anywhere near Havre, but Costco does extremely well. So, yeah. Anyhow, you're going to pick a company. We're going to do some analysis. I said the fun thing that I did a couple semesters ago is about 2 or 3 weeks into the class, I had them pick their companies, and then I put them in a portfolio like this. Everybody roughly at $10,000. Couldn't get exact because you get the number of shares and whatnot, but it'd get right close to $10,000, just so we could kind of see how we did during the semester. That semester we picked happened to be just an awesome semester. I mean, our whole portfolio was up like 30%. Every day I kept telling the students, I said, you can't think that this is real. It just isn't this easy, trust me, But it was a great semester in terms of the stock market. You guys might get a different lesson. Who knows what's going to happen to the market in the next 3 months, with all the trade stuff going on. But it was kind of fun, and they kind of enjoyed it. That'd be kind of the first thing we'd do every day at class. I'd just come in and, pop it up on here, and we could take a look at it. It'd give us what our daily return happened to be. Market closes at 2 o'clock, right when class starts, actually, so that's when the market closes. But it also gives us, these are the returns. These might even be the same companies that were from that semester. I got rid of a bunch of them, but if that's the case, they've kind of gone downhill, since then. I didn't mean to do that. Apple's down since, I don't know when that got in there. Amazon's down since that got in there. Coca-Cola's the only one that's up. Good old-fashioned defensive company. And then Nike. But it was a decent-sized class. We probably had 20 of them up there in our portfolio that we were kind of following. So we had a nice, diverse portfolio. It was kind of fun. That said, that doesn't really have anything to do with your final analysis, okay? Because stock price I don't care about. You guys are gonna be looking at the financial statements of the company. That's what I care about. You know, I want you opening it up. Nice thing about our system, the SEC requires that companies have to give out quarterly deals. The CEO and the CFO of each company, publicly traded company, has to sign off on those when they send them to the SEC, acknowledging or saying that they're accurate. Okay, and you and I can look those up. Okay, we can go right online and look them up. Usually those quarterlies come out about a month after the end of the quarter. Not all companies have a calendar quarter or a calendar year. What do I mean by that? Some have a corporate year end that's May. So the end of May is their corporate year end, and they start all over in June. And so if you start looking at some of these and it doesn't seem like it's matching up for some reason, that might be the reason why. Okay, the corporation's calendar year might be different than the actual calendar year, so it'll be a little bit different. We'll look at those. You guys are going to write a 5-page paper. That's all. 5 pages. You're going to have the whole second half of the semester to work on it. I break it down into some other things. One of them is just picking the company, so you get that out of the way. You get a few points, I think, just for that. I like to take a look at that. Sometimes I'll send you back an email that says, let's say you picked Berkshire Hathaway. That's, some of you guys know me. I like Berkshire Hathaway. That's Warren Buffett. You guys have heard of him probably. That's a huge conglomerate. You know, they're into so many dang things, trying to analyze that company. So I'd probably send you back a little email that said, you might want to pick again. You know, this one's just going to be a little tough to analyze. Okay. Again, it's not so much the size. Apple's twice as big as Berkshire Hathaway, but Apple, I'd probably say, okay, nothing wrong with that. Amazon, maybe even. You know, Amazon's starting to get off into some other avenues too. They're really starting to do a lot of web services. Amazon Prime is getting into some other things, right? Some subscription services and a few different things. But I think a person could still analyze Amazon without too many problems. So, okay. Back to that. Videos for all that. Trying to think what else. Does anybody have any questions? If we end up being a little short today, that's okay. No questions? Everybody got their textbook already?
No, I don't.
Okay. I'm sure they have. Do they got used ones down here at the bookstore? Anybody checked into that?
They have.
Do they have them at the bookstore? Used one?
Yeah.
Would it run you? Just out of curiosity.
Would
it run you just out of curiosity?
I can't remember. I think it was 100, a couple hundred, I think, sometimes.
I got mine on Amazon for like 40 bucks.
Yeah. Just get priority shipping so it gets here so you can get going on this stuff. But yeah, it should be pretty cheap because it should be, I think, a couple generations old. I think they're out with the 17th edition now.
140 bucks.
Down here at the bookstore.
Yep.
Of course, you can use your financial aid or whatever for that, so sometimes that's a bit of an advantage. But yeah, it was 40 bucks you say on Amazon?
Yeah, I did something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
To rent it, obviously.
Oh, that was just to rent it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll have to get one that's even older maybe or something, and although they keep getting older, so I don't have to worry about it. Any other questions? On the syllabus is my contact information. I don't have a cell phone, so you can't text me, sorry, but you can text to my email. I know you can do that. And I can send text from my email back to you, I think. Yeah,
For quiz one, do we need our textbook?
you probably will. Yeah, when's that due? Friday?
Friday.
Okay, yeah, so if you might have to borrow one or something. If you need to, come borrow mine for a day or something if you're waiting on yours, but, okay. Any other, yeah, the quizzes are all set up just so you can open up your textbook and do it, so you'll definitely want your, I mean, you could do it, but you probably wouldn't do real well. Any other questions? Okay, let's call it a day then, and we'll hit it hard on Wednesday. Say I'll bore you with a lecture on Wednesday and Friday probably, and then next week we'll get started on problems. I won't bore you too much. I might even tell a joke or two. Oh, okay, there you go. If you were doing Johnson & Johnson, they got to pay out $572 million. Man, oh man.
For fueling the crisis.
For fueling the state's opioid crisis.
Oh,
J&J is one of, there's only 3, 4, or 5 AAA rated companies in the world, meaning that their balance sheet's so stellar. They're rated by Moody's, Fitch, and Standard & Poor's. And there's only like 3 to 5 companies. I think J&J, Exxon, Microsoft might be them that are AAA rated.
What happened to like Bear stock? Like after they got, like in California when there was millions of people saying that Bear weed spray, with the Roundup.
Oh, the Roundup?
Caused cancer.
Yeah, that's Monsanto, isn't it? Or
I
is
thought
it?
it was Bayer.
It could be Bayer. Yeah. I don't know. Bayer is a German company,
Okay.
so it might be a little more difficult. I'm pretty sure Bayer is a German company, if I'm not mistaken. So it might be a little more difficult to tell. I would, if I had to get, I mean, they're still selling Roundup like crazy. They're still advertising it and whatnot. Keep in mind that when you first see a headline like this, the final number's usually never even close. If you want to look up a case, there's old Stella Liebeck was the most famous one. She's the McDonald's gal that spilt the coffee on her lap and sued McDonald's for whatever. And the ultimate award was like $4 million that hit the headlines. Okay, guess what? McDonald's appealed. Okay, that was the first award. By the time it all got said and done, I think she got $160,000, of which her attorneys got like 60 or 70%. So she got 30 grand or something like that. Okay, so the headlines are never, never what the final is, because you got to go through appeals and you got to go through all kinds of stuff. So sometimes they'll settle though too, and then you never see that again. It ultimately just settles. Bayer or Johnson & Johnson, in this case, they'll write a check and make it go away. Roundup might have done that too. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but there was like millions of people that said that they got cancer from using the Roundup.
Oh yeah,
And there was court case after court case. That was just last year, but then.
it's
last couple of years.
it's still ongoing, I
It's
think.
been an ongoing deal.
Yeah. And they may have came to a settlement. I'd
Yeah,
have to go
I
back
haven't
and look at the
anything
news.
for a couple months.
Yeah. Well, you can't watch an hour of TV, at least the channels I watch, that you don't see lawyers advertising for clients,
Yeah, I know one of the last semesters, I can't remember the last fall, last.
Hang on, let me shut this off, because technically we're done.